Let's say we have an equation given to us where the roots are alpha and beta. Okay, we can draw this. So we get a nice little parabola, cuts the x-axis at alpha and beta. Great. Now we're going to transform this equation, this one equation, into different types of equations. So let's say we want one equation first who has roots. Instead of having roots as alpha and beta, it has roots as alpha plus k and beta plus k. How do we get that equation? Alpha plus k and beta plus k. So basically, instead of having alpha and beta here, your alpha moves ahead by k, alpha plus k, beta moves ahead by k, beta plus k. So you'll get your new quadratic over here. So all we are really doing is taking this original equation and shifting it right by k units. How will you get that? You already know, right? If you have to bring this equation back to its original place, what do? Move left by k units, right? Every point x here is basically moved ahead by k units. So you'll move it behind by k units or left by k. Moving left by k means in place of x, we'll put x minus k. That is the first thing we learned in the chapter, right? When you're trying to move a graph horizontally, if you want to bring it back to its original position, now our original position is this original graph given to us, right? That's what we are starting with. So this is our original graph now. So to bring this graph back to its original position, instead of x, you will substitute x minus k. So that simple is the transformation. If you have a new equation with roots alpha plus k and beta plus k, you will just substitute in place of x, you will put x minus k and it's done. So if your original equation was ax squared plus bx plus c, new equation will be a into x minus k the whole squared plus b into x minus k plus c. That's it. It's the same thing that we saw. There's nothing new we are learning here. We unnecessarily have different topics because we don't typically relate things, right? Once you start relating things this way, you don't need to learn this actually. You don't need to learn this. I don't need to teach you this. You already know it. You already know it. You already know how to shift left, right? Same thing now, we'll do the reverse. Instead of having the new roots as alpha plus k and beta plus k, now we are going to have the new roots as alpha minus k and beta minus k. That is our second case. So what are we doing? Alpha minus k means here alpha was there, I subtract k so it moves here. Beta was here, I subtract k, it moves here. So this is my new equation. All I've done is moved my entire graph left by k, right? Every point if you see, the x has just moved left by k. How will you bring it back to its original position? You will move the entire graph right by k units. Right by k, right? Right is positive, so plus k. Horizontal direction, so x is what is changing, right? So instead of x, you'll write x plus k. As simple as that. Previous case, instead of x, you wrote x minus k. Now instead of x, you'll write x plus k. That's the only change. Now if you actually notice this, do you see a pattern here? When we had alpha plus k and beta plus k, we replaced x with x minus k, right? Opposite of plus is minus. Same way, when we had alpha minus k and beta minus k, we replaced x with x plus k. Plus is opposite of minus. So what are we doing? Whatever was the operation done on the root, we are doing the reverse operation on x. You realized why we are doing that from the graph, correct? Whatever is being done on the root, we are doing the reverse on x. The same thing is what we'll continue. Addition and subtraction are not the only two mathematical operations, right? We know a lot of mathematical operations. We know multiplication, division, powers, roots. We can do everything. So let's say we do multiplication now. So I have alpha k and beta k as my two roots. What should I do with x? What is the opposite of multiplication? Division, right? So I'll replace x with x by k. What if the roots are divided? So my two new roots are alpha by k and beta by k. Now what will I do? Reverse of division is multiplication. So instead of x, I'll replace it with x into k. Let's try taking squares. So my new roots are alpha squared and beta squared. What is the opposite of square? Square root. So instead of x, I'll put root x. Now I have root alpha and root beta. Instead of x, I'll put x squared. Boring, right? I can keep going on and on and on with all kinds of mathematical operations. Not needed at all, correct? Not needed at all. You understood the basic logic, you just need to do the reverse. Now what if I take a reciprocal? What if I take a reciprocal? So instead of alpha and beta, I have an equation where the roots are 1 by alpha and 1 by beta. Now reciprocal, the opposite operation of a reciprocal is also a reciprocal. Which is why? Because x and 1 by x, right? See, reciprocal of x is 1 by x. Reciprocal of 1 by x is x. So that is why the opposite operation of a reciprocal is also a reciprocal. So if the roots are 1 by alpha and 1 by beta, you basically replace x with 1 by x. Correct? Because what is it actually you are trying to do? X raised to, when I say 1 by alpha and 1 by beta, what am I saying? In other words, alpha raised to -1 and beta raised to -1. So what should I replace x by? X raised to 1 by -1. Correct? That's what root x means, right? Just think of it. Alpha squared, beta squared, we replaced x by root x. What is root x? X raised to 1 by 2. So instead of 2, I took 1 by 2. Similarly, instead of -1, I'll take 1 by -1, which is again -1. That is why I'll replace x with 1 by x. Now, interestingly, when you replace x with 1 by x, look at what happens to your equation. We have ax squared plus bx plus c. Instead of x, I'm going to put 1 by x. So I put 1 by x here, 1 by x here. What do I get? A by x squared plus b by x plus c equal to 0. Now multiply the entire thing by x squared. So here the x squared will get cancelled. So you will be left with a. Here 1x will get cancelled. You will be replaced with bx. Here an x squared will come up. So your equation becomes cx squared plus bx plus a. So what is actually happening? The values of a and b are interchanged, right? So if ax squared plus bx plus c has the roots alpha and beta, interchange a and c, cx squared plus bx plus a will have the roots 1 by alpha and 1 by beta. You are interchanging a and c. Again, you don't need to remember it this way, but it's easy enough to remember. All you need to do is replace x with reciprocal of x. That also you don't need to remember. All you need to remember is whatever is done to the root, do the opposite mathematical operation to x. That's it. Now there's another relationship between the roots which is useful to remember. This is just something you'll need to directly remember because a lot of questions come based on this. Basically, if your two roots alpha and beta are in the ratio m is to n, then there's a relationship that holds true, which is mn b squared is equal to m plus n the whole square into ac. Useful to remember this relationship, just you remember this mn b squared equal to m plus n the whole squared into ac. Lot of direct questions come based on this, where you'll just substitute in this formula. You'll be given questions like the ratio of the roots is 1 is to 4. A and b, two of them are given, find the third one, right? So you just use this equation, you'll get the third one. So useful to remember this one particular property. Otherwise, generally for any kind of transformation, whatever is the operation done on the root, do the exact opposite operation on x. And your problem is solved. We have two equations here. X squared minus 6x plus 5 is less than equal to 0. The second one is x squared minus 2x is greater than 0. Let's first try and graph it. We need to find what is the range of values of x, right? Whenever we have to find the range of x, easiest way to solve it is on a graph. So we're going to try and graph these two. Now look at the first one, x squared minus 6x plus 5. What are the roots? 1 and 5. How did I get them so easily? Sum of your roots is nothing but 6. Product of your roots is 5. So 1 and 5, right? 1 plus 5 is 6. 1 into 5 is 5. That's how I got it. Second one, x squared minus 2x. No constant, so it's nothing but x squared minus 2x plus 0. Right? Product of roots is 0. Sum of roots is 2. Product 0 means one root has to be 0, right? So 0, 2 will be the two roots. We have the roots of these two equations. So we can keep the equations on the side now and start drawing them. So the first one has roots 1 and 5. We take x-axis. It's upward facing because the coefficient of x squared is positive. We have 1 here and 5 here. We draw the graph. Second one, 0 and 2. So 0 and 2 we mark. Again, x squared is positive, so facing upwards. So we draw this graph. Perfect. We have both equations. Now, in the case of the first equation, the blue one, we have, look at the graph. Where is this equation negative? It's negative between 1 and 5, right? Negative is nothing but below the x-axis. Where do you see the graph going below the x-axis? Between 1 and 5. This entire region is negative. We are only concerned with the values of x. What values of x are these? Everything between 1 and 5. So let's just shade this part. Everything between 1 and 5 is going to satisfy my condition 1. Now let's look at condition 2. This is the second graph, the green one. The condition here is that it's greater than 0. Not greater than or equal to, but greater than 0. Greater than 0 means above the x-axis. Where does this graph lie above the x-axis? This part and this part, right? This is basically, now if you look at the corresponding values of x, this part is all values of x less than 0. So this entire portion, all values of x less than 0. And this part is all values of x greater than 2. So this part, everything greater than 2. Now the two shaded regions, look where they overlap. They overlap for everything between 2 and 5. Right? Everything between 2 and 5, but not including 2. If I was to write this in terms of an equation, in the first case, the values of x that we got were between 1 and 5, including 1 and 5, right? So 1 less than equal to x less than equal to 5. In the second case, either x is less than 0 or x is greater than 2. Compare the two. What is the common area? 2 less than x less than or equal to 5. Rather than looking at the equations, much easier to see from the graph. All you need to look at is the overlap region. Overlap region is this between 2 and 5. The only thing to be careful about is it's inclusive of 5 but exclusive of 2, because it says greater than 0. If it was greater than equal to 0, 2 would be included. So it doesn't include 2. So the answer is all values of x between which are greater than 2 and less than or equal to 5. Now it's also given to us that x is an integer. So what are the integers that lie in this range? 3, 4 and 5. So those are the three possible answers that x can take. X can be either equal to 3 or equal to 4 or equal to 5.